What is up, guys? We're back at it again with another video talking about John Anderson. Now, if you guys don't know him, he's actually a very popular guy on social media, mainly Instagram. The guy with the traps, the guy with the really crazy looking delts, always in shape, always in condition. He was actually an IFBB pro. Now, I'm sure if you guys aren't familiar with this guy, some of you probably are, but if you have any social media presence at all, you might have come across one or two of his videos doing most musculars or doing parody videos. It's actually quite funny. He actually does, promote the lifestyle of fitness, but he does it on the extreme version of just looking jacked and insane. Now, he actually did a couple bodybuilding shows. He was actually an IFBB pro and still is an IFBB pro, obviously not active because I believe he's 51 at this point. But this was him back in, I believe it was the 2019 Vancouver Pro, where he took 14th. So not dead last, but nowhere near the top spot. Now, as you can see, what's interesting about him is his body parts, right? His traps, his shoulders, his quads. The quads are super funky, super sus. The shape of them is just completely off. And even the traps being that prominent in literally every single pose he does, no matter if it's a side pose, back pose, front shot, his traps are just abnormally just out there. Even the delts as well. Very, very abnormal delts just sticking out all the time. Now, I don't want to go ahead and assume that this is Synthol or maybe PMA oil or implants. I don't know the guy. No one really admits to having implants. No one really admits to Synthol. But you can clearly see when a muscle just kind of looks weird. It just doesn't look like it's supposed to be part of the body. And he's a case where he has muscles that just look off completely. And as you can see, if you look at the traps down the middle, his mid-back traps are actually quite detailed. You can see vascularity peeking through, but when you go up, there's this blur that just makes it look almost off-season-ish, right? The delts as well. The delts look just, there's like portions of the delts that are abnormally large, specifically the medial delt, compared to the front, or even rare in this case. It's just very not what you should expect. Now, the traps here are actually Ronnie Coleman-esque, because when Ronnie used to do this, he had that same look to his traps. The thing is that the thickness went from the top down to the bottom, and it just connected through the whole entire lat. So you can see that he was just that freaking big. In John Anderson's case, it's just the top portion of the trap. The middle is relatively flat. He's lacking some conditioning in the back here when he does the Christmas tree pose, if you will. And the rear delts are now just protruding outwards by a lot. As you can see here, those bumps above by the neck just don't look like they're part of his traps. It's almost like someone just took a line and just edged out the top portion and made it bigger on Photoshop or something. Make no mistake, these are real photos, and that's a real person, and he actually does look like that. From the side here, you can even see maybe the brachialis and tricep was a little touched up. That is also just shaped a bit abnormally. The rear delts are now looking just really too much, in my opinion. And the traps are very prominent in a freaking side chest pose. It's just excessive. Here's a frontmost muscular. Traps are peaking, delts are peaking. That left tricep is now very, very noticeable. And the quads have just taken their own independence. And they are not really showcasing detail. It's almost just like blurry muscle, right? It's just puffed up and inflamed looking muscle. It's almost like you're really deep in an off season, but he's on stage and his quads are just sticking out. It's not something that looks natural. It's not something that looks appealing. I don't really know if he thinks it looks good. I mean, I guess he's proud of how he looks. Obviously, he's on stage competing, and he didn't place dead last. I mean, he placed 14th out of what looks to be 17, 18 competitors. So he beat 4 guys. But like I said, he was not in top 10, and by no means was he anywhere near the top 3 or 2 or first place. This show, Howdy actually won this show. So you guys know Howdy, who won the 2022 Mr. Olympia. He actually won the Vancouver Pro Show in 2019. and John Anderson was in that very same lineup. Now, I actually couldn't find comparison photos of him next to the other competitors. They only just showed of the first call out. Here's actually a photo of him right here. If you actually look, we have him next to some guy. I don't know who that is. Someone else next to Hottie, next to Samson Dauda, and then another guy that looks to maybe be Johnny Shreves, perhaps. Could be Johnny, I'm not sure. But that's John all the way on the far left if you go from the right side to the left side of the photo, looking at it from the screen. You can just clearly see how funky the quads look, man. I mean, that's just really weird shape, man. Look at someone like Hottie, for example, which has hard, thick, solid, legit muscle. And then go over to John Anderson, which he probably has the widest quads in this shot, but it's also the most unappealing look in the shot because the muscle is just not real looking. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about John Anderson. Not hating on the guy. He seems like a very cool guy on Instagram. Like I said, he does a lot of these videos where he's talking and being motivational. He does his like stick to where it's almost like a Macho Man, Randy Savage type of stick, almost like a persona he has on. The traps are not as insane as they were before, and his physique overall is not as full-blown, if I'll call it full-blown. Obviously here he's like 50, 51, 52 maybe, and back here he's late 40s, but definitely still younger than he was today, so he's not going to showcase the same amount of muscle, although he's still very, very heavily muscle and still very, very heavily dense and conditioned as well, showing a bunch of vascularity. Nasty, nasty, nasty stuff, guys. Quick video. Hope you enjoy it. Like, share, comment down below. And if you're not subscribed, make it a thing, guys. Sub to the boy, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.